Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Another live stream. I lied yesterday. I totally forgot that yesterday as I was going live on YouTube for the workshop, I also had something scheduled for today. So actually we have a live coaching session scheduled for today. So, okay, hold on. There, someone is ringing me up. Hold on just a second. Hello? Okay, so this is a funny thing because we actually had a crystal scheduled to come on here and be coached. And you know what? There is a crystal now, but it's not the original crystal. This is really funny. So the title is correct. It is Crystal, but this is Crystal who is on Team Freya. And let's just all say hello. Hello, Crystal. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm laughing along with you.
This is really funny because it's really funny because you told me the name of the person that's supposed to be coming today, and then maybe we can have Crystal too. Maybe she'll still join us, and if not, maybe some other time. But in the meantime, Crystal, also known as CJ, we're going to go ahead and just do a warm-up because it's kind of early in the morning for you. And so we kind of impromptu decided maybe we're just going to come on here and we'll just do a warm-up together. So what do you think about that?
Awesome. Always ready for warm-up.
So I just actually this week recorded an actual warm-up because yesterday when I came into my office and I was supposed to record some videos, I was like, oh, phlegmy. The original plan was for me yesterday to record a video about how to sing better coloraturas. And I was like, oh, my voice is very tired because the twins had kept me up the night before. And I was like, okay, why don't I just share my warm-up? So let's do something together and we kind of like take turns or something like that, okay?
Okay.
Good. Okay, so when I start warming up, I just take it easy. I think the most important thing for me always is just to do something that feels good. To start out with something just feels light, it feels good, it feels comfortable. And I feel like there's just some, just warming up and kind of gently massaging my vocal cords. So I like doing things like little hums. So let's do a little humming, just up and down, sliding. And while we do that, we can also start being aware of resonance and how the sound changes as we change the shape of our mouth. So I like to do like a chewing motion, so where basically we want to go from the tongue being very close to the hard palate to the tongue creating more space. So that, and if you're doing it right, you should hear like whine, 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 kind of like going on. Okay, good. This is kind of like something that we also call like SOVT exercises, semi-occluded vocal tract. Anytime when you have like, it's more closed up, like when you're using a straw or when you do lip trills, these are all kind of like SOVT type of exercises. This is helpful to not oversing. It really helps you to not push too much. And so it's a really safe way to get started. So I know I'm not the lip trill person, but I actually sometimes like doing lip trills. But the main thing for me is to really be focusing on still the resonance part, singing into the mask. So let's try to do some lip trills. Same motion, just sliding up and down. And you probably notice that when you do that, it's kind of really easy to get into head voice and back. It's almost like the break doesn't exist. Why do you think that is? Do you have any idea?
Probably because you're not pushing, like you're like easing off and you're humming. Whereas sometimes if you're speaking and then you're going to transition to your head voice, you may have the tendency, not the same for everyone, to still push when you're going into the next register.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So usually when you sing in chest voice, you kind of really heavily lean on the thyroid muscles, which then makes for a really heavy break. But when you lighten up as you're going higher, and the same happens, not with the lip trills, but when you go, when you kind of don't sing very heavily and dark, then the break isn't as harsh. So it's helpful to know, whenever you have a song, to lighten up just a bit. That doesn't mean you get breathy at all, because when we just did the lip trills, there was not breathiness. You can't really be too breathy when you do the lip trills because you kind of have to sing efficiently. You can't push lots of air outward. So you're actually doing a really good job and having that amount of subglottal compression that helps you to not be breathy. But this is a good exercise,
With that exercise, I love it too because it brings awareness about how much support I need. Because as you could all see, the first two that I tried, I didn't have enough support, so the lip trill didn't last long, and then I had to say I have to engage those muscles more so that I can hold it longer. So I like that for that reason.
Okay, cool. Actually, before we continue, let's do a little bit of speaking. I didn't really properly introduce you, so So CJ has been on Team Freya since last year, and she's also a singer, but she also has a lot of other amazing qualities. And she is the one inside of the online singing school who will be there interacting a lot. And if you have ever written an email to us, a lot of times she'll be the one answering, unless it's like a very specific singing question, then she sends it over to me. But you probably may have touched base with Crystal if you've sent an email or you're in the online singing school. And by the way, if you wanted to join the online singing school, plug here, shameless plug, because we have a special deal running this week only until Christmas for 50% off the yearly membership. You can go to masteryourvoice.tv singing school. So, but coming back to you, CJ, tell us just like very quickly, a minute or so, what is your background in singing? What's going on there?
Sure, and just to piggyback on Freya's shameless plug, I will also join. We would love to have you. The more of you that come in, the better, and we love having you. So anyway, just wanted to piggyback on that. As far as me, I've been singing all my life. My father is a musician, similar, not the same, but similar story to some of Freya's story, that having that background of parents doing that draws you in as well. And so I've always loved singing. I've sung, I guess we can call semi-professionally. This year I made a big decision to try and go all in on that. So that's what I've been doing this year. I met Freya back in, I think it was 2019 or 2020, when I had a vocal injury, because I was singing a lot. And I was in Freya's master class, and she basically helped me recuperate. I had lost a lot of my lower range for a while because of that vocal injury. And then, I just learned so much from her and love being on the team, and talking to singers from all over the world is really special for me. So
awesome. Okay, let's continue on. So maybe you would like to share an exercise. Like, what is something you love doing? And then I'll continue and we can do something together. But I always like, because the thing is that everyone's voice is very unique. And so depending on your strengths and where you come from, and sometimes we don't feel the same every single day. What is something you like coming back to as far as an exercise goes?
Well, like I mentioned, I do like the lip trill because I struggle with that good support a lot of the time. So I always begin my warm-ups with that because I need to kind of activate my brain to say this is the level of support you're going to need. So I do love that one. And then because I do rely, my natural tendency is to rely a lot on that thyroid or retinoid muscle that you were mentioning, and push through. I also like to do a lot of the sirens, starting with like from ah, and then going the whole way, like from low to high. I like doing those because it helps also to remind me to be light and to access the higher, the upper register. So yes.
Okay, so let's do something moving through all the vowels. That is very, like, vowels are so important because it's where the voice rings the most, where it's most singable. So I like this exercise right here, and we're gonna take turns because we can't sing at the same time. It's gonna just because the computer's gonna the tech is gonna cut us out. So hold on, let me turn myself up just a bit. So I like the ya-yo progression, because what you want to do is have a very legato transition between, not just between pitches, but between vowels. So it's never a sudden yo, but it's ya-yo. So you're really aware of what actually changes. It's a very smooth transition. And so I like to just go, and I take as much time as is needed for me to have a nice phrasing. Phrasing flows into this. Your support kind of engages as the pitch goes higher. You can feel those muscles kind of lifting the pitch up. So there is a little bit of a crescendo going up, and then going down, there's a decrescendo. And this is all supported by the diaphragm, by those muscles of your support. And at the same time, you always want to try to focus on having a good ring in your tone. So always trying to place it very forward so that it never covers up the sound. You want to try this exercise. You don't need a piano, but I can give that chord.
Yeah, I forgot what you said.
So, ya-yo. Almost. It just goes up to the G and down again. So one more time. So it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, and then back. Okay. And then what's important for you is really to focus on the vocal cord closure, that as you're going up, you want to stay in chest register. It's not that high. It's a G on the top. We could also do it a little lower. Let's actually do it one step lower. As I go up, I really focus on lifting that tone to where it is more chesty on the top, because at this point we want to work in one register. We're not working on transitions or like mixing or anything. We really want to work on feeling how the support kind of is constantly evolving. It's constantly at work, but it's never static. It's always like giving and taking, depending on how high the pitch is, how intense it is, because we're doing a crescendo toward the top. It'll do this on the top and it'll relax a little bit as we go down. And the vocal cords will do the same. You want to make sure they close tightly. I'm doing this exercise because I know, you have a beautiful voice, the soft parts are like, this is really your strength, the beauty in the soft parts. And we should always cater to our strengths. But at the same time, we always need to challenge ourselves with the things that might not be our strength. Like, I can belt. It doesn't mean it's what I do all day long when I do performances, because it's not where my voice truly shines, but it's not like I'm not doing it. Okay. So I always challenge myself there too. So one more time. Making nice tall vowels. Yeah, it's an aw. And yeah, so a, e, I, o, u. And I always choose the open version of each vowel. So like an e has an open and a closed version. Like there's e and e. There's a and o. And we always want to have the open version of these. You know, there's an I and an E. I, E, I, E. So we always kind of do the more open version. So it's more singable. Maybe, I feel like you can do it one step higher. And try to get as much space as possible for those open vowels. Yeah, I feel like on the aw, you could use more lips to make it more, not but aw. Yeah. Think of like, oh. It's almost like fish lips. Yeah, it does, because it does extend the space that you have available. And I feel like it really makes a difference whether saying ah or oh. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice greatly, rejoice. That it really does help, I feel. Your picture just froze up for a little bit. You're moving in a very non-legato way. Your video is not legato. Okay, let's do this. Let's do an exercise going from chest voice, head voice, chest voice. Okay, I think I actually showed that exercise in yesterday's workshop, so we're going to demonstrate it. So we're going to go an octave. You, and you're going to transition from chest voice to head voice back to chest voice. So do an octave. You. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're just going to make the top pitch. We keep lowering by half a step, but we keep the bottom pitch. So the next one would be you. You. That's a hard one. A major seventh is a really hard. I think a major seventh is very hard, easy to be confused with a tritone. It sounds so similar. You. You. You wanted to transition into head voice? Make sure the top one is in head voice. You. You. Yeah. It's going to get hard here. You. It's quite low for head voice, but it's still very doable. We missed the first pitch, I guess, like your connection cut off. Let's do one more. You. You. Feel like you see how that's getting harder to be in head voice for the top pitch, but
Yes.
The lower you can take your head voice and still have strength in it, and the higher you can take your chest voice and still have strength in it, the larger the area of overlap, and you're going to have more options when it comes to navigating through a song, because it really, the point at which you want to transition very much depends on the song, the color that you're shooting for. It's so different for every single song. Because it has a different energy and intensity. So we can't say, oh, my transition point is always like at a G4, because it'll be sometimes I want to sing more in head voice, and sometimes I want to sing more in chest voice and bring it up and pull it a little higher than maybe for other songs. Yes. So now let's do a little bit chest voice, okay? Ma, 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 ma. So just as if you're shouting out, the higher we go, we do want to get a little shouty here to strengthen the chest voice.
Ma, 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 ma.
Yeah, be careful to stay in chest voice now, because think literally of ma, 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 ma. You want to be intense. Ma, 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 ma. It's not about beautiful now. It's about getting those muscles engaged that are chest voice.
Ma, 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 ma.
Yes, and it really does help when you think dynamically. So the top one, it's a fifth apart. So the top one will need a lot more support and energy and really compression and engagement of the muscles. So it is. This pitch is very easy in chest voice. If you sing this in the same kind of energy, it'll totally get into your mix and easily slip into head voice as you're going higher. So you want to do, this is easy, this needs more energy, and this is easy again. Ma, 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 ma.
Ma, 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 ma.
Yes, and you do that when you sing any song, because the song doesn't stay on that high pitch all the time. When it is the high pitch and you want to be strong, you have to give it more power. But as soon as you move away from it, you don't have to stay there in that place of pushing it more. You can relax as you go down. Ma, 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 ma.
Ma, 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 ma.
Yes, and you just, you want to think speech, because we don't go, hello, We want to connect it. It's like, hello, mommy, how are you today? It's like, no. It's still very connected and legato. In music, everything is about legato. Even staccato is connected. So in reality, there is nothing but legato, okay? Ma, 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 ma. Really focusing through that also.
Ma, 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 ma.
Good. Now, be careful that you don't get into the habit of the ah is a ma. So it's it's better singable when it's more of a tall ah and it has more ring in it. Ma, ma, ma versus ma, ma, ma. Ah. See how much more tall space I can make. Ma, 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 ma. Now the top is quite shouty already here.
Ma, 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 ma.
Yeah, and we want it to be short and sweet. So we don't want to, that's why I'm doing a long M. Again, we're just putting some SOVT in the exercise. The entire exercise isn't, but we're putting some of that in there to keep us from pushing outward too much, so that mum, mum, mum. So think about singing on the as much as possible. And when you can do that, the ah is almost like it's a piece of cake, because opening up from the if you have space, tall space already in the back of your throat, when you do the ah, just opening the lips, it's all in place already. That's all that happens, is you move your lips and open. So one more time, this one or this one. Mum. See how I'm singing through it? And then the top one, the moment when it's open, it's quite short. So it's really ma 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 versus ma 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 ma. It's so much easier on the mum than the ma. Okay?
Ma 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 ma.
Yeah, and the more you practice this exercise, it's with exercises, it's like with a song. At first, it's like a new thing. And it's like a new melody. You have to memorize it. And it's like, okay, it will get into muscle memory. But I feel like this is a good exercise for anyone who wants to start really feeling that how dynamically it changes throughout your range and chest voice, and how even when it's only a fifth apart, a fifth is a lot in the voice. It's more than half an octave. So,
that's a good exercise. That's a good exercise for me because I have a tendency, this is something I've been working hard on this year. I have a tendency to want to hold out the end of every pitch, and I've been working really hard against that. And learning that you do not have to have vibrato on every single little held out note. So to focus more on the beginning, it's like counter to what I naturally want to do, which is I naturally want to get to the end and make it play out. So this is a good way to get me to think against that. So that's a good one.
Yeah, let me see. I'm going to look at some of the questions here because I did want to involve everyone who's on here live. So hi to everyone here joining us. Yeah, rounding the vowel is important, definitely. I get frustrated when I'm in a choir, and because people do not round vowels, their sound is off. In choirs, it's difficult because what you have to do is like try to get everyone to sing the same vowel. It sounds so much better when everyone is in uniform. Everyone has a very clean vowel that is just all synchronized. And that's hard to achieve in a choir, like even just an ah, because there's so much room for variation. Isn't nasal resonance important here? Yes, well, basically when you're singing an M, any that's a nasal sound, like a and a n, that is a nasal consonant. But even like it's a voiced nasal consonant. There's still voice going on. So there's a difference between having nasal resonance mixed in and sounding nasal. You don't want to sound nasal, but you don't if you are keeping the soft palate lifted while you do that. So when you're doing an M, your lips may be closed, but inside of your mouth, you're trying to keep some level of an open, tall space. And even in the back of your throat, like the soft palate is lifted, that pharyngeal space, you try to keep a tallness, an openness there. So basically, I always think of when I'm singing an M, when I sing any nasal sound, I try to keep an ah sound as much as possible in there. And I'm just enclosing that ah sound. But on the inside, I'm trying to shape an ah. So it's like, versus nasal resonance, we always, like, depending on the style that you're singing, you want to mix in more or less nasal resonance. Now in classical music, you want to be as tall as possible. Even when you sing low and chest voice for a soprano, la, 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 la. So it's you keep that tallness, so much space. But when you sing pop, that is not appropriate. So it's less tall, but in order to not sound completely nasal, you want to get more on the side of having that space, because when you get too small back there, it's like la 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 ma 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 ma, versus classical would be more like ma 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 ma, which that is all the way on the other side of the spectrum, somewhere in the middle. And you can play with it, like you will hear some singers sometimes in country or in modern musical theater. I feel like Broadway, contemporary Broadway, there's a lot of nasal resonance going on. They want to have that edge, but it's very intentional. So as long as you're intentional with it, you're allowed to do it. Oh, Janet is here also. Awesome. Learning about the tallness is very good advice. Yes. Okay. Maybe you want to share one more exercise that you like, or something that has helped you.
Yes, your exercise, it's easy. I kind of earlier in the year, I kind of used it. I used it a lot earlier this year. I haven't used it in a lot of months, but that really helped me connect my speaking voice to singing voice, because I think that's another thing I've really honed in on this year, because I have a tendency to mimic singers, which you've talked about a lot, that we can emulate the technique, but we don't have to copy the singer to manipulate our sound. And that has created a lot of issues in my singing too. It's like, because I'm trying to force my voice to do something that it's not naturally bent to. So it's easy. Or like I had changed it. I think it was, what was it? Like I'm talking to you. So I said like I'm talking to you, like I'm talking to you. And I would use the same as you did. It's easy. So
It's
either one
easy.
that you want
Yeah.
to do. Yes, to just connect the speaking voice, because I think it's important to kind of just realize it starts with our natural voice.
Yeah, but can I say
That's a good.
something about that? What I just noticed, and I'm going to pull up this app here. Hold on. Do this one more time. Do this like I'm talking to you, but can you drag it out to where I can see what pitch it is? I mean, I can hear the pitch, but try it.
Like I'm talking to you. Like I'm talking to you.
Okay, so that's like, okay, good. So that's like G#3. Now, that's a good clue. G#3. Like, see, for me, you have a lower voice than me, because my natural talking pitch, if I'm going to do something like that, that's just sort of like a regular relaxed talking pitch, is like I'm talking to you, like I'm talk. That's quite low in my voice. Like I'm talking to you. That would be kind of my middle chest voice, kind of relaxed. Like I'm talking to you. See, but that's why we can never, you have to like use an app or a piano if you can, if you're good at hearing. You have to determine where your speaking range is. I talked about that yesterday in the workshop. Where's your comfortable speaking range? Where's your relaxed speaking voice? And where's your intense speaking voice, as far as like, like, oh yeah, this is so great. So I'm easily at a B flat and a B just naturally if I'm getting a little bit excited. Oh yeah. So for me, it's easy. That's a B4, almost a C5. But for you, I think it all lies a bit lower. And it's a good clue as to where should you even start this exercise. Because if I demonstrate to you, it's easy. For me, that B4 is like, it's so natural in my speaking voice. But for you, probably, you should start somewhere like, it's easy, somewhere like that.
Yes. And well, we can get really philosophical here for another day, but that's another conversation too. It's like, you have the podcast, Find Your Voice. I think there's a lot of mindset work that I've done over the years as well, because really some of us, and you've talked about this as well, some of us don't really even know what, because we might be shy. And so maybe our voice could be like soft and gentle with people, or it could be a little bit more high and princessy sometimes. But maybe that's because we're shy. But if we're shy and we're going to sing and that's just our personality, maybe we should pick repertoire that's in that, even though in our real personal life, our voice may be more commanding, it may be more deep, but maybe we don't feel comfortable being in that space in public. So there's all this mindset attached to our natural voice too, to get a little philosophical.
Well,
but there's a mindset piece.
It's very much reality. So it's not really too philosophical, but the mind is a huge thing. It plays a huge part in it. Like if you have that self-image of like I want to be this. It's like body type, like some, we all, well, it's because of what we see in the media. And if all we see is these Disney princesses and they are always the one portrayed as beautiful and noble and they're the good ones and they always win. And the bad ones actually have the voices that are not as bright. They are darker. They are lower. They're not, I don't know why it is, but like higher voices are more feminine, but it's not true. I had a student before, she had an incredibly low voice. It's unbelievable for a woman. She could sing with the basses. It was very, very unusual. She was not the least bit unfeminine, even though she had that very low voice, but she wasn't unfeminine because of that. But it's a lot of that, stereotypes flow into what to us is desirable. So, but whoever you are, that is what is desirable, because if you're trying to be someone else, it's going to be very frustrating because you never will be. You will only be yourself. So better be happy about who you are. So let's try this exercise on this, like, it's easy for you.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah, now really already from the get-go, try to get strong on the top. It's easy, easy, easy. Think of like, it's easy. The bottom is relaxed voice and the top is, yeah. It's like the shout out, happiness.
It's easy.
Yes, and you don't want to linger on the top. You want to just shoot for it. It's easy. Move away from it.
It's easy.
Yes, and it's all about moving through it, about the motion. You need to stay in motion because anything that's static, it's going to be harder. The longer, higher pitches, the intense pitches, the longer they get, the harder they are. They're also less intuitive when it's just like, hey there. We do this all the time in our speech every single day, and we don't think about it because we don't go, hello. We just go, hello. And we don't think about, ooh, that was a D6 that I just created in chest voice. We don't think about it that way. But if we would use some of that in our singing, we would be less like overthinking. We overthink a lot when we sing, it's like, it's easy.
It's easy.
Yes. So really moving, move forward and don't overthink the top pitch. Just think, it's easy. It's easy. Let's try one more. It's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah. And you're nice in chest voice now. It's easy.
It's easy.
Yes. And now the topic, it was just a bit flat this time. You want to think energy. You want to think bright. You want to, think of that friend across the street. It's like, hey, just want to tell you, it's easy. It's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, one more. It's easy.
It's easy.
That was a bit flat again, a little below pitch. And here's what also helps. You want to make sure you take that nice breath before the first pitch. And although the first one is short, we have like a little break in between the first and when it goes high. You want to keep that tension. You want to bridge that gap. Even when there is a rest, you don't want to lose that tension in your support. So it's like basically, I'm keeping that tension. It's easy. Think of that onset. The onset isn't on the high pitch. The onset is already on the low pitch. That's the onset for the high pitch. Think about it this way. It's like, I'm ready for the high pitch right now. Okay? It's easy. And I could go, it's the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And like, the first breath is what determines everything. Okay?
It's easy. Oh, I did head voice.
Yes. Now think about that friend across the street. She needs to hear you. It's like, it's easy. easy, easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, awesome. That was really good. So I think for you, really just, not overthinking is very important for you, because I know you tend to like really analyze everything, which is, on the one hand, it's really good because you want to be intentional, but it can get to the point to where it just stops you from doing anything. And it's almost like paralyzing. It's like you get like in this position of like, so in your head, and it's like, is this right? Analyzing everything to death. Sometimes it's just do it and do it strong. I always have this thing about failure. Here's the number one rule for any, like if you wanted to, in order to become the best at everything, you have to try to out-fail everyone else. If you can fail one more time than everyone else, then you will be one step ahead. The safer you play it, the less you fail, the less you're actually going to know what is going to work and what is not going to work. So always playing it safe isn't getting you anywhere. You want to take risks. You want to fail big in your practice anyway. Fail big, because when you fail big and you're trying, like try big things, try in your practice. In your performance, that's when you want to shine. That's when you want to show where you're at and work with what you have in order to display all the best that you have to show. But in your practice, be bold and go to your limits so you know what it is. Where is my limit? Can I push the borders here? Can I push those boundaries and go farther? And am I going to go for full chest voice here? Let's try it. It's easy. Oh my goodness. That, or, if I try, let me try that real high. Like, it's easy. Oh, that E on the high pitch is very hard. But unless I try, I'm never going to figure out how am I going to sing a closed vowel on a high chest voice. I don't feel the difference if I start going into mixed voice. Like, it's easy. Basically, it's all washed down and I can't feel the difference. When I go all the way, okay, I want to sing chest voice. It's easy. Ooh, that was flat. And now why was it flat? Oh, yeah. I could have had more space. I could have supported through the break a little bit more. And I could have placed that vowel a bit differently. I could have actually opened the I up a little bit more. It's easy, like in the back of my throat. And then I can do it. But there's no way I can figure that out if I'm just kind of very tentatively doing it.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
And Maria is here, and Janet. Yeah, it's good to see like online singing school members here.
We have our meeting in about 10 minutes, everyone. So
oh, that's right. I need to let you go because you have the meeting. We have the accountability session today. Yeah, so I'll let you go. Thanks, Crystal, for jumping in here on a whim. So I hope this was valuable for everyone. And I want to do more of these, but it's been a little difficult this Christmas season. I guess people are very, very busy, but you can always apply. You can always write me an email and be the one getting coached and chatting here online as we stream live. Crystal, I will probably talk to you before that, but I wish everyone a wonderful Christmas. And one more time, the shameless plug here. If you did want to give the gift of singing to yourself or to a loved one who loves also to sing, and maybe who you think has some potential. And recently, the interview that I had with Dr. Dan was really cool because he said everyone's voice deserves to be heard. And this is really, it's so true, because if you have a desire to sing, if it's something that gives you energy, that brings you to life, then it is something that is important to you, and you should do it. So we have that 50% off the annual membership until Monday. That's when Christmas hits. So you could have an entire year's worth of singing and all the lessons and all the community and meetings every single month for, was it $485? That's the 50% off price. Yeah, I hope to see you on the inside. And everyone, oh, you'd like to, Maria? Oh, I think you just don't think about the fact that people might be watching, but it might be a good lesson. So why don't you consider next time maybe joining? You could write me an email or so. Okay, let me let you go so you can go to your meeting with everyone. And everyone, thanks. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.